Good morning, this is Jeff from Charting the Markets Crypto, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Tuesday, the 6th of January. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right, this is a video for paying subscribers at ccmcrypto.substack.com. It's published on YouTube after a delay of 3 days. All right, great. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin has been making some good progress. We've got some resistance on the upside. I was mentioning this yesterday. I'm not expecting to reach this, but in the event that we made it back up to the 50-week moving average and the weekly middle band, I would expect to see strong resistance there. I'm not actually expecting to reach that, but that's the top end of what I think is possible here. And I think that is 50-week moving average is at 101,500, and the weekly middle band is basically at 102,560. What I am thinking is that obviously we've got back over the daily middle band, we've got back over the 50 DMA, and that has opened up potential higher targets. Now, one thing I would say is that the daily 3SD upper band is at 95,000, and we closed almost there yesterday, and we've got we've made it up to 94.8k. We may be looking at some retracement here. Now, we haven't got any negative divergence on the daily chart, but we do have a 60-minute sell signal fixed on RSI 14 on the hourly chart. So have we reached the obvious target? I'm keeping an open mind on targets, but the obvious target is the three-touch. Having got a three-touch trend line on resistance already, would be to reach that, and I've got that currently at about the 96,500 to 97,000 area. But I am thinking we might see some retracement today. We will see how that goes. But do we have an obvious? I was looking to see if we had an obvious trend line with this high here, because this, of course, is. If we're forming a larger bear flag, which is what I think is happening here, then the minimum we'd expect to see would be a high over 94.6k, and we saw that overnight or yesterday. Do we have a trend line there? No, wasn't expecting one, and I don't have one. We shall see. All right, looking at Ethereum. And there's a reason I'm doing Ethereum second here. Ethereum, again, pretty decent day. Again, we broke back over the 50 DMA. Again, we are pretty damn close to the 3SD upper band. The overnight high was at 3264, and I've got that at 3321. Again, wondering about a bit of retracement here. No negative divergence on the daily chart, but this is, if we see some retracement here, and then we see another move back up to the highs and higher highs here, not only could we get closer to the obvious flag targets here, but we can actually set up some daily RSI 5 sell signals, which is something I'm watching for. On the hourly chart, we've got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed. That fixed yesterday, but it's still fixed. Targets. This could be forming a triangle here, and I'm just going to draw that in if we are doing that. Because I am wondering, I've drawn in a line for if we're heading off to the obvious resistance trend line, which is less obvious than the one on Bitcoin. But if we were heading up to the target, which would be the obvious triangle resistance, well, you can see we're actually pretty close to that already. Watching that with interest. But I'm wondering about some retracement here, and I am wondering if we see a decent dose of retracement here, whether we're going to see some sell signals forming on the daily RSI 5, which would be good if we're going back to the lows and likely lower. Looking at Solana. Solana, again, seen a pretty strong day, got back up to about the 140 area. RSI 14 buy signal fix is now reaching the possible near miss target, and again, we're looking a bit overbought on the daily RSI 5, but no current divergence. We do not have a 60-minute sell signal here, but we do have it on the other two. In terms of the obvious target here, we have a potential double bottom here, and if we were to see a sustained breakup over 146.91, then that would have a target in about the 176 area. I'm not thinking that's particularly likely, but I'm just mentioning it in passing. What I think would be more likely, if we follow the path we seem to be doing, is we'd go up, probably break over 146.91, and probably fail not too long after. But we will have to see how it goes. We will see. But I think that's where I'm thinking we're heading at the moment. That's not a great fit with what I'm thinking on equities here, because I'm thinking equities I'm leaning bullish today, and I'm definitely leaning bullish tomorrow, which is a historically pretty strong day. So we will see how it goes. But this is heading up towards the obvious targets, and I'm still thinking this is a bear flag. After these bear flags break down, then I'm looking for the bear flag target, which would be a retest of this low here at 80.6. And on the bigger picture, I'm thinking we've got a pretty good chance of getting down on Bitcoin to the 74.4K big support area. In terms of Solana, we've got obviously an open head and shoulder target, which is at a retest of 95.24. And as and when this fails, this is no longer a bear flag, because we had a bear flag and then that made target, which was the retest of the low. But if we go and make a double bottom, breaks up and fails, or even makes target and fails, then we've got a nice looking move down into the 95.24 area on the current head and shoulder target. On Ethereum, that head and shoulder target, because we've got one there too, is at a retest, is at a move down to the 2050 area, where we've got some support. I'm not really, there's nothing to suggest we're going to see a move down to 1384, so I'm not expecting to see that. We shall see. But after this expanded flag breaks down, I'm leaning towards seeing that target made. All right, great. Let's have a quick look at questions on the Bitcoin. Hang on, wait a second. Well, on the Bitcoin chart, I think maybe the 15-minute, would extending the middle trend line from the low hit another top and the recent advance. Not sure what you mean there, but in terms of a resistance trend line, what I'm looking for is one that is on this scale, i.e. would match the support trend line. The obvious one to be was here, and I did have a look at that, but you can see we've not quite made it. If we actually made it a little higher, I would be wondering about that. Right chart, the top blue line. Are you talking about this line? Because I've already extended that. I've got that I've got almost exactly on the 97,000 area now. This one, it doesn't matter. This is an old support trend line, and this wasn't respected there, and also had a bit of an underthrow here. So I think, while actually that gets us very, very close, I don't think that is a particularly significant trend line. You can already see it. We've gone under it there, we've gone over it there, we've gone over it there. We have hit it there, we've gone over it there. It's just too messy. So while that looks interesting, I don't think from a pattern point of view that it's significant. So we shall see. All right, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap. Everyone take care. I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. I'm hoping to get a post out today. Didn't manage to do it yesterday, but I'm hoping to get that out today. We shall see. All right, everyone take care. Cheers.